every day. Aim high, miss never. Welcome to Mortgage Influence. This podcast is dedicated to bringing you cutting-edge tips to truly influence at a completely higher level. I'm Adam Hires. I help loan officers quickly add multiple six figures to their income. If you're trying to grow your business now with skills your competition doesn't even know exist, have the clarity what to do every single day to win, and run a true business that provides you the income to fund your lifestyle while having the freedom to go on vacations and leave your phone on the nightstand all day long. Head over to hirescoaching.com, smash the consultation button today, and quickly begin your path to having an unfair advantage in your market now. Head over to hirescoaching.com.
Todd, Duncan, I have just, I tell you what, I've seen your stuff for years now, and you got right beside you, I guess it's a 20-year anniversary of high trust selling that is absolutely, accelerating people's trust level and helping sales professionals around the world. So you're sharing some great things before we got on here. Love you to share what's going on in the journey of Todd Duncan and just how you got there and just all the exciting stuff that you've been able to help loan officers and other entrepreneurs win in their space.
Yeah. So it's good to be with you, Adam. And I appreciate the opportunity to kind of just riff with you. And, we're halfway through the year, interesting times. And, I always tell people it's time for a reset and, rethinking kind of the fundamentals, rethinking what got you to where you were last year is not going to be enough to keep you where you probably want to be this year. And so it's time for skill refinement and getting back down to, role playing and doing some of the stuff that really allows you to be confident in the marketplace today. I think the interesting thing about the market right now is, sadly, a lot of loan originators are not going to make it through this. And on one hand, that's sad to me because they didn't develop the skills to, manage both the purchase and refi market, but also because it's good news for the people that really want to double down. The guys and gals that are in the industry that still believe in home ownership and the fact that we're going to have a $2 trillion plus, market this year with the refis gone. It's a bigger market than 5 years ago. So, there's plenty of business for everybody. You just got to have the right mindset. You got to think abundantly, and skills matter. Skills matter now more than anything. And, my journey started off as an LO, and 12 years later, I sold my business to my assistants, and we had funded almost 6,000 loans in 12 years. And I just answered a bigger calling. What do I want to do next? And the easy answer was, let me help mortgage people all over the world figure out how to do what, my team and I were able to do. And so we started the company, and here we are 30 years later with the books in 52 languages around 14 continents. And I was just telling you before we went live that we had a webinar today with a global multi-level marketing company, and working with thousands of leaders on how do we create trust in the marketplace. Mm-hmm. And I'm very proud of the book. And I think the reason why the book is still selling 20 years later is I wrote these laws with one filter, and the filter was, would the laws last 100 years after I die? And it's so funny because I started this conference off this morning with this global company with a quote from Andrew Carnegie in 1903. And in 1903, he was talking about customer service. And you just think about that. The guy today would be worth what Jeff Bezos, Elon Musk, and Bill Gates combined are worth right now. Over $475 billion. And he's talking about something that has lasted a century plus. And I think if you look at any successful business, the laws that people follow and the truths that people follow, they're principles, and principles mean that something will have a consequence, positive or negative. If I spend more time with you and I ask you different questions, I might get you to say yes more quickly. That's a principle. If I talk too much, you may not say yes. That's a principle. Talk yourself out of the sale. That's a truth. Invite people into letting you be their guide. That's a really soft emotional pitch. So, the long and short of it is these 14 laws were written with high performance in mind, and people today that are reading the book and rereading it and rereading it and rereading it, the laws still work. It's like seeing a good movie 20 times, I hope.
Yeah. It's like the new Top Gun movie.
Yeah.
No.
But I'm not. I'm having a lot of fun doing what we do, and the company, the coaching company is crushing it. And we really, in fact, the subtitle of the book is how to make more money in less time with less stress, and that's what we teach people to do. And I know you believe in that.
Yeah, 100%. I resonate with having a bigger calling. I think some points we know that we can make a lot of money doing what we're doing, but if there's a bigger calling to help more people, and that's the real vision, then now the next step is just to take the action and put all the things behind it. I'm sure that there was probably a little bit of scary part of that, which I would imagine really invigorate you to say, hey, I'm going to do this other thing. I've been real successful here, and then went out in that space. Can you take us through what that transition and how you're able to transition and take the action when you had the sustainable great business that you just could have stayed in, but you said, hey, I have a bigger calling and I'm going to go do that? Because I think a lot of people, even maybe loan officers that are just starting out here, may have just traveled through that journey of taking a step into being in this space. And that's a scary thing and also an invigorating thing. And I would love to hear kind of what those thought processes were and kind of what that evolution was.
Yeah. Let me tell the story, because I think every loan officer and certainly every leader all the way up to CEOs would resonate with this. When I was, so I started in the loan business when I was 23. When I was 26, I was the number one guy in our company and sustained that rank for the rest of my career. And my manager came to me and said, hey, the president of the company would like to know if you'd like to maybe kind of host the new recruits every month and just spend a day with them and tell them what you're doing to build your business, and, helping them understand from your perspective as number one guy in the company, what they can go and do and model you. And I said, sure, I'd love to do that. So I started doing that every month. And within about 3 or 4 months, group number one would come to me and said, I can't believe this. I've got like 9 loans this month, and all I did was do exactly what you told me to do. And I said, you keep doing that and you're going to be able to retire in a decade. And they got after it, man. And so I did that for almost 7 years. And in between, and then in the midst of that, my title partner asked me if we could start doing big seminars for realtors. And I said, sure. I'm a mortgage professional. You're a title professional. What better way for us to add value than to get 100, 200, 300, 400 realtors in a room and tell them how to work with lenders and title companies and spin their business up. So we started doing that, and the same kind of feedback came in. And so I was doing loans at scale. And then I started to really feel that maybe my bigger calling is to help other mortgage people accelerate their success. And, I've often said to people, that explain to me kind of their business. Sometimes it sounds like they've been in the business 1 year, 22 times, instead of really having 22 years of experience. And I look at people and I say, why don't you just fast track your results? Who says you have to work 40 years to retire when you can work 10 and do it at scale and then do whatever you want to do, right? And so one day, my title partner said, hey, Tom Hopkins is going to be doing a big seminar in Costa Mesa, California. Let's go. So my title partner and I signed up for this big event, 2,000 salespeople there, and we were in the front row. And I remember Tom Hopkins talking about following your calling. And he said these words, do what you love and the money will follow. And then he said, you might all be at a point right now where you really love what you do, or some of you might be at a point where you think you might love something else. And there's nothing wrong with either love. The point is you got to love what you do, right? And I loved speaking. So when the morning break happened, I cornered him in the hallway and I said, hey, man, I made a decision this morning to be a professional speaker. And I just want you to know you inspired the daylights out of me. And he looks me in the eyes and he says, hey, stick around for the whole day. And at the end of the day, come up and let me talk to you about the journey. And I said, you would do that? He goes, sure. You're the only person so far that said, I want to be a professional speaker. So I make this commitment with my title partner. We hang out all day long. And the end of the event comes and he's got a brand new book. So he's autographing it. So there's like 100, 200 people in line. And what I don't want to do is be rushed by him. And so I kept getting out of the line, kept going to the back of the line and just kind of timing it where when I finally got to the stage where he was signing books, it would just be the two of us and my title partner's standing next to me in the room. And that's exactly what happened. So he looked at me and he remembered the morning conversation. He said, so you want to be a professional speaker? And I said, I really do. And he goes, why? And I said, because you impacted my life this morning. I think I'm impacting people as a speaker. I just haven't formalized a business around it. He goes, fantastic. He goes, when are you going to be a speaker? And I said, well, I kind of am right now. No, but how much money are you earning from speaking? And I'm going, well, nothing really. I was, because I'm adding value and I get more loans, right?
Yeah.
But nothing. And he goes, okay, you got to pick a date. And I go, pick a date to what? Pick a date to be a speaker.
Yeah.
And I go, okay, I'll do that. And he goes, no, pick the date. And I go, I will. And he goes, no, like right now, pick the date. And I'm going, what are you talking about, man? I just came up with this idea this morning. You want me to pick the date? Here's what he said. He said, if you don't pick the date, you won't have the discipline to drive to this destiny.
Yeah.
It's just like, boom, right? So I go, okay. And I pick the date. It's 6 months from that date right there. And I go, 6 months from now, I'll be a speaker. He goes, hand me your card. And right on the back, I will be a speaker on this date, blah, 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 blah. And he says, if you don't call me by this date to tell me you're a speaker, I'm going to call you and ask you why you've not held to this commitment. It's like, whoa, talk about accountability, right? So I got after it. I mean, I just got after it. And the thing that was so important about that conversation, and this is a message for all of your listeners, for the entire mortgage banking, anybody that sells, there's a difference between having a dream and date stamping your dream. And what Tom actually asked me is, he says, by when?
Yep.
When will you be what you are telling me you want to be? And once you pick that date, then you can start to move in that direction. And inside of 6 months, I came up with all the marketing material. I came up with 3 speeches. I came up with a transition plan from my business to my team. I came up with kind of a quasi marketing strategy. I was gonna leave on a Friday. I was going to go to Hawaii for a week. And the Monday after that, I was a professional speaker. So I get back from Hawaii. I'm a professional speaker. And the only people that I know are the people I've worked with in the mortgage company that I worked for those 12 years. So they're not going to hire me, right? So I call Tom Hopkins and I leave him a message day one. I go, hey, just so you know, today is day one. I am now a professional speaker. I have no idea who's going to hire me. And I left him that message. He called me back a day later. He spent an hour with me telling me what to do. And so what I ended up doing is sending out 10 intro letters in 10 FedEx packs every day. I got the MBA directory and I was going to go from A to Z until I had 40 contracts. Now, this is a great lesson for every loan officer. I didn't get a contract for 8 months, 10 marketing pieces a day. Following up the next week, 10 new marketing pieces, follow up with 10. The next week, 10 new marketing pieces, follow up with 30. The next week, it got so unmanageable that I couldn't call everybody, but I was calling back the people that said, call me back in, or we're going to be making a decision in September. This is July, right? We're going to be making a decision in September. Can you call us back in August? I just started doing follow up. Couple of days, I got really nervous because we didn't have anything, and I was going to blow through $100,000 to start the company, and then I was going to reassess. And I think I had $10,000 left in that startup account, and I got a call that somebody wanted to hire us. And so we sent our first contract out for $2,500. And then in the next 35 days, we got 44 more contracts, and we booked $987,000 in income the first year I was a speaker, and the first check didn't come in until month 9.
Oh, wow.
And now the same people that we sent those FedEx packs out to in 1992 are still clients today.
Wow.
And that's the story.
Well, that's, I love the date stamp. That's everything, right? It's like, how am I going to figure it out? You'll fill in the gaps, right? You didn't know how it was going to happen, but you set the date. I know where I want to be, and I'm going to fill in the rest. And I think that's a lesson for everybody. And something I always teach clients is, if you're going to do a webinar, you're going to do a event, just what are you going to, do you know the overarching, what you're going to speak about, set the date, fill in the rest, because it tends to work out. But when we don't set the date, then things just kind of flounder, and 1 month leads to the next. And I love the journey of 100% listeners can, definitely listen to what Todd said here, because month after month after month, he did and he had enough belief to continue to do it. And then all of a sudden, this big growth curve, and that's the whole growth curve we always talk about, right? It's, it's flat, 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 boom, a big spike. And then now 30 years later, people are still saying yes. And you're not sending out the packs to get it. They're probably sending you packets back and saying, hey, please, Todd, please come in here and speak. So
no, you definitely go from outbound to inbound. And when you get a client following and you've got hundreds of thousands of people that, are in your social structure and they want to be impacted by you. And then you just add the relationship piece. And so one of the things I like to tell LOs is right now, relationships matter more than ever. Relationships will always matter more than ever, but right now they matter more than ever. Right. And the reason I tell people that is because I think we got transaction happy over the last year and a half. I don't think it took a lot of skill to do a lot of business in terms of, generating referrals and hunting, for loans. They were pretty plentiful. And that's good news for the time being, but it's not good news when all of a sudden the market gets tough. And I tell people all the time, I started in the loan business in either the third or fourth worst recession in the history of the United States. And interest rates on Gubby loans were like 18%, 3 or 4 points. Prime was 22%. Unemployment was 10. Consumer confidence was in the tank. It's only been lower 2 times since then. But the first recession happened in 1795. It was called the Panic of 1795, and they come about every 5 years. And the number one thing that loan officers screw up on is they move from relationship to transaction. And my early mentor told me, looked me right in the eyes, and he says, you can make a living on transactions, but you can make a fortune on relationships. Yeah. So those 6,000 loans my team and I funded, we had 13 realtors. That's it. And some other, like financial planners and business owners, but 13 core realtors. And that was it.
Yeah. You want deep.
So relationships matter. And right now they matter a lot because the market's shifting. We're not in a balanced buyer-seller market yet, but sellers are getting a wake-up call. Their unrealistic price expectations are softening. Appreciation is forecasted to be down almost 15% from last year. It's still going to be a healthy 4.5%, maybe 5%. But interest rates right now have gone up 3.25, 3.5 points in 100 days. Okay. Talk about putting the brakes on a market. And, we saw the inversion yield today. And, that's a big sign of a recession pending. And I got my little button here that reminds me, I used to wear this on my jacket, and it says, rumor has it we're in a recession. I'm not participating. And that's the mindset. People are going to buy and sell right now. You only need like 100 or 200 loans to make a living. They're there. You just got to get back into a relationship.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that you're talking about the last couple of years when I got into really coaching loan officers was, first of 2020 officially. And, during that period, it was, hey, I don't really need help because, I'm doing more loans than ever. And of course, it was never somebody doing crazy amount of loans. I'm going from 3 loans to 6 loans. I got enough loans. And let's not work on the skill sets, right? To have this sustainable. And now that's coming back to haunt a lot of loan officers right now, which is what you're talking about there. They didn't get into the relational, and they didn't work on the skill sets to be able to move these relationships in the direction they need to and build a team the way they need to. And now they're feeling that. And now I feel like you probably feel this as well, where people are, hey, I do need to gain these skill sets. I do need help. I think more people are starting to raise their hands because they do feel that. But I think, again, you said it off the bat, it is an amazing opportunity for the ones that are really wanting to grow their business through trust, through building relationships, to real human to human sales. I think that it's a beautiful opportunity. I think it's just an amazing opportunity to grow your business, because you talked about $2 trillion in sales, more than, what is it? The last 5 years. The last 2 years fooled everybody, especially in the refinance game, but there's still a ton of deals. And I like how you said it too, 100 or 200, you just have to find those. I'm not asking you to do 1 billion loans. We're talking about, can you find 8, 10, 12, 15 loans a month and have a great business and make a lot of money and fund your lifestyle. So they're out there. And I think if everybody just doesn't participate in the recession, as you talk about, and doesn't participate in woe is me and the loans are down, they can truly build a trust-built, high trust selling business like you teach.
Yeah, no, they absolutely can. And I just want to say something, we have thousands of coaching clients, and I got to tell you that they're not hurting right now.
Yeah.
I got a text yesterday that one of our top students funded $17 million last month in volume.
Nice.
During last year, her refinance volumes were not any higher than 24% at any one time. And the interesting thing is when you do a refi, it does not guarantee that refi is going to lead to a purchase, unless you're following up and you're doing annual mortgage planning reviews and mortgage efficiency checkups, those types of things. But watch this, every refi won't happen without first a purchase happening, right?
Yeah.
And so you always have to focus on the purchase business. And to planning, let me show you how easy 200 loans is a year. You have 10 realtors. They each give you 2 borrowers a week. That's 80 borrower conversations a month, 20 a week. And out of those 20, your skill set for conversion is only at 25%. So you're getting one full-blown app that goes to processing. Okay. And so that's 1 a day if you have 4 conversations. Now, if a real estate agent can't give you 2 qualified buyer leads, you either have the wrong realtor or you're not following up. So we tell our coaching members, when you have a brand new relationship going with a realtor or a builder, whomever, and they're ready to go, lock and load a 12-week follow-up. Do it right there. Send them an invite on your phone. I'm going to follow up with you every 7 days for the first 12 weeks of our relationship. And I'm going to ask you 2 questions. And the 2 questions I'm going to ask you are going to generate business for you and me. And I'm actually going to be your co-marketing partner to bring that business back to you. And so if we're working with a seller that's going to buy, let me talk to them. If we're working with a buyer that's already approved somewhere else, let me give you a second opinion. But I'm going to follow up every single week. So only 1% of loan officers have an activated follow-up plan. So watch this.
100%.
If I get 4 calls a day, 20 calls a week, and that leads into 5 loans a week, that's 20 loans a month. All you need is 10 referral partners referring 2 qualified buyers a week. Let's say that's too heavy for you right now. Fine. Take it to 20 partners with 1 that don't change the conversations. Now, here's what you do. So if 90% of those loans close on 20 a month, you can do the math real quick, right? I'm going to take 2 off of that. And it's going to be 18, right? I'm going to take 2 months off during the year. So that's a 10-week work month. So what does that look like? That's 180 fundings. How much do you make per deal? $4,000. Great. Do the math. Is that enough business for you? Now what you do is you don't add more buyers, you improve your conversion rate. So I'm going to take my conversion rate from 1 out of 4 to 2 out of 4. Now I'm at 50%. Now I'm doing 360 loans a year. Do you guys realize right now that all you need is 10 realtors giving you 2 buyer referrals a week each for the rest of your life? And you've got to convert 2 of those to loans that 9 times out of 10 close. Just do the math on 360 fundings. Families help 360 a year. My top coaching student funded 827 loans last year, with about 78% purchase. How much money is she making? And I'm just saying this to you because this is your life. You're giving lifeblood to the business, and so many LOs are letting the business smack them around and letting the business control them. You got to be in control if you want to have control over the things that matter. There's a lot we can't control, but you can control who you do business with. You can control how much value you add, and you can control how much money you make per hour. So let's control those things. And I have a client 10 years ago that worked in Hutchinson, Minnesota, that had a population of 13,000 people. That year, he funded 800 loans in a town with 13,000 people. So you can make anything happen if you have a city that's got at least 15 to 20,000 people. You just got to be good.
Well, I mean, you're hitting the nail on the head, and gosh, there's a lot to unpack there, and it's exactly this type of stuff I would talk to clients about. Yeah. Is that finding these amount of loans is really not that hard, and again, reading the noise. Let me ask you this: what has been your advice for the amount of just activity or what the loan officers are reading, even in the space of like I found that even in the space of where it's cloaked as, hey, this is really helping the loan officers, there's so much negative speak and so much things that if a loan officer is on those types of forums or even that platform, that they are starting to diminish what they think they can do, right? So getting out of that noise, like what would be your advice, or what's been the advice of some people that some of the loan officers maybe to get out of the noise and just concentrate on like what you can do to grow your business now?
Yeah. So I want to be really, articulate about this. How you start your day has a lot to do with how your day goes. And so there is a practice of setting your intention. There's a practice of really in the morning looking at your mindset and looking at whether you're thinking abundantly or whether you're thinking from a position of scarcity. And what ends up happening so often is the reason why people have a hard time getting positive, which is a choice, is because they either don't know why they're doing what they're doing, or they don't know how to do it well enough to not have it be painful, or both, right? So when you wake up every day, and, I wake up every day, and the one thing I center on is, I wonder how many people today will let me know that I've made a difference. That's my question every morning. I wonder how many people today will let me know that I've made a difference, because my why I wake up every day and why I still do this life-changing stuff we do is because there's somebody else who needs their life impacted. I need to be in their way. I need to be there. I need to be the teacher. So when the student's ready, I show up, and I will do this for the rest of my life. I have zero desire to not do what I do, period. So it doesn't mean I don't have to do this. I don't have to be in business right now. I love it and I want to. Now, here's where it gets a little bit tricky. The idea of all these forums is that there's too much noise and there's too much negativity. And you should put yourself on a fast from anything that's negative, except just understanding the ebb and flow of the market. Okay. Yep. Don't listen to the news. Don't participate in negative conversations. I told somebody the other day, and this is honest to God truth, they were getting negative on me. And I did this. I did a timeout and I said, right now, you're stealing my joy. So I don't want to talk about this anymore. And I just put a boundary right out there. And I said, stop. You're stealing my joy. I am happy. And I don't want to listen to this part of the conversation. And it wasn't a client. It was somebody I knew, and not quite a friend, but an acquaintance. And, we probably plug into 10 minutes of intel a day so I can just know what's going on. I hate the news. I don't like the reporting. I don't like what people are saying about our country. I don't like, sometimes where our country is. And I'm sure that applies to everybody sometime. But what I don't like is filling my brain with doom and gloom and negativity. I choose half full instead of half empty. And that's the mindset piece. Now in business, if you're a loan officer, you have to go through a series of at least 3 things. You've got to get competent to gain confidence to deploy consistently. If you're not competent at making phone calls and setting appointments, if you're not competent in having borrower conversations that lead to trust fairly quickly, if you're not competent in organizing your day and organizing your time, if you're not competent, you will have no confidence. And when you have no confidence, it leads to negativity. And then because you don't have confidence, you're not consistent. And if you're not consistent, then that messes up your confidence because it messes up your results. So what we tell people is get really, really good at a few of those disciplines that make the biggest difference. Like I want to be really good at setting appointments. I want to be really good at asking very few super meaningful questions. I want to be really good at having a dialogue and listening. And then I want to be really good at producing quality files. And then I want to be really good about guaranteeing the customer experience. That's all I have to be good at. Everything else can be done by somebody else as I build. And then if I go from competent to confident to consistent. Now I have access to the compound effect, which is like, if I do this every day now, boom, 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 boom. So there's no limit. I've got one guy that's building $1 billion branch. We know, Shan Posinian, for, I think the last name is, and he's with Guaranteed Rate. I think last year he did $2 billion in loans. And he's like all about value. It's just like, so there's no limit to what we can do. And by the way, I want to say too, I'm not telling people to do more just to do more. You don't have to do more. You can do what you want to do, but do it in half the time.
Yeah.
You know, you want to do 100 loans a year? Great. Do 100 loans a year, but work 20 hours.
Yeah. 100%.
Don't work 40.
Yep. Yeah. I think that's amazing advice, Todd. And I 100% agree. Knowing enough of the market update to be confident, but getting out of it. I think that again, people are getting too caught up in the noise, and 100%, like we do. One of my mentors, my great mentors, Chase Hughes, guy is amazing. He talks about, we do confidence, right? You either do confidence or don't do confidence, and you do confidence through, the skill set you're acquiring and all the things that you're doing behind the scenes beforehand. That way you can go out, you can have great trusting relationships and build a true business. So you can be consistent, as you said. So great nuggets. We're coming up on time. Want to make sure that we value your time. Yeah. We are going to we're putting eyeballs again, like on your high trust selling here, 20 years. I cannot believe that's crazy. I have personally read it, probably when I first, like probably 7 years ago myself. So about 13 years later, I was into it and listened to the audio. I actually had the book and the audio. So it's great stuff. I would highly recommend anybody that has not read that to pick it up today. But where should we, what's next? What would you like to finish off and tell our listeners as we part ways?
Yeah. So first of all, thank you for the time. It's been fun and engaging, and this is what I do, and I love doing it, and I really appreciate being on your show and having an impact on your listeners and tribe. So that's cool. Thank you. 3 things to take action on. Our 30th Sales Mastery event is coming up. We started this in 1992 as a gathering hole for loan officers that want to be super productive. Here we are 30 years later doing the 30th one. And, the event has impacted 75,000 loan originators and probably close to 35 million homeowners. And we consider it a privilege to kind of be the guide and have people come and join us for that. So it's October 11th through the 14th. There's a special podcast discount of $500 a ticket. You just enter the promo code SMPOD, POD, and you'll get $500 off, courtesy of you being part of this great tribe. And so that's number 1. Number 2, if you want to follow me on social, I'm at Todd Duncan Official on everything except Twitter. And bottom line is I add value through our social channels every single day, sometimes multiple times a day. And then there's a couple free resources. If you just hang out on toddduncan.com, we have a white paper called Talk Less, Sell More, which is the new innovation around the high trust interview. We also have a white paper that is the high trust interview guide, which is the new questioning process, the dialogue process to work with realtors and builders and other referral partners. Those are all free and no strings attached. So come follow us, hang out with us, and between you, Adam, and me, we can help these loan officers win.
Oh yeah, it's invigorating, isn't it? Just invigorating to see people winning. I love it, and I was a powerlifter. I became number 1 and ranked in my weight class, and that was the same thing. I said, I just started wanting to help others do it, and I got just as much joy. And I could see that same passion. It's like when somebody hits that next goal, it's like it feels like you're in it as well. And I just got off one of my group calls where people are just having all these wins, and you're just like, wow, this is so much more amazing than when I did it. Yeah. It's just such a bigger calling. And I love that you say, hey, I don't have to work with, I love doing what I do. And, I know you've helped so many folks, and I'm just eternally grateful you came on here and shared some just nuggets of wisdom. I'm going to re-listen to it myself and think, hey, how can I continue to get better? And you're always teaching that. And thank you so much. Continue to be the light to others. And I'll continue to follow you and just see all the big things that Todd Duncan is doing. Folks,
awesome, man. Thank you so much.
This is a great podcast. Listen to it over, go back through this, and you're going to really help your business win. Go to High Trust Selling, listen to that. You may want to listen to it 2 or 3 times and really, really grow your business and your trust level. You know the drill. Limited risk equals limited income.